Hi everyone, this is Etienne from Makerscape. Today we're gonna do another tutorial. This tutorial is about making a pumpkin lantern, also called jack-o'-lantern. This is the stuff you carve for Halloween with a pumpkin and a light inside. Okay, so let's get started. So to do this, we'll first get a reference image. Then we'll use the pinch brush to make the ridges of the pumpkin. We'll carve the eyes and the nose and the mouth. And then we'll adjust a little bit. We'll make the stem. We'll color everything. And then finally, I'll show you how to look at the save files and then the kind of files you create during the quick save process. And that should cover the basics of making a carved sculpture. All right, so let's first start with the reference image. So I use the left menu button on the left hand. I go to Pref, Add Reference Image, Pick Image, and I'm gonna pick the pumpkin image I have here. So click on it like that, click on Load, and then you can use the left hand trigger, the grip, to kind of move it. And then if you want to resize it bigger or smaller, you can do that too. So I'm gonna put it here on the side so it's out of the way here. Um, And now, the first part we notice is that the pumpkin has ridges. Like it's not straight up, like everything is as a little ridge everywhere. So we're gonna use the pinch brush to make those ridges. So the pinch brush is here, pinch, and then we're gonna set the level of detail to 6. Yeah, that's a good level of detail. Make sure you don't have the surface vertices, you don't have to any of these options. And then if you're a beginner on the channel, you will notice the brush is not locked to my hand, so I use the right hand trigger to move it. If you want to lock it, you click on lock here and it will stay locked to your controller. Some people find it more convenient. I find it less convenient, but it's up to you. Everyone's preference. Um, and so the pinch brush, what it does is that it brings the vertices toward the center, the white pyramid inside the brush. So if I do this, it's kind of bringing the thing to the center, the vertices to the center. So we're going to reduce a little bit the intensity, 0.2, and then we're going to start making the ridges. And then the material here is smooth wireframe so that we can see a little bit the topology, make sure it's decent topology for what we're doing. It looks like it's okay. So we can turn it off later. I'm going to do a couple ridges and then we're going to switch over to a shaded view so we have like a little bit more of a sculpture feeling, and then we can kind of organize our effort a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the PBR material, which is called Vertex Paint. Go to Vertex Paint, reduce the smoothness, reduce the metallic, adjust it. We're going to make it a bright, saturated orange, a little bit reddish here. Maybe like this. A little bit more red, I think, would be good. Uh, Here. Okay, it looks like a nice pumpkin. And so we're going to go for cartoony kind of cartoony aesthetic, a little bit stylized. As you can see, this is already starting to look cool. So we're gonna make the ridges, and you want to get in the flow and embrace uncertainty. Like in sculpting, there's a difference between modeling and sculpting. 3D modeling using symmetry, structure, repetition, perfect design to come up of the idea of the shape and then implement it with the modeling tool. With sculpting, you go with the flow and the emotion. You want to sculpt and do what feels good and embrace the little mistake, the little uncertainty, the little happy accident, like Bob Ross said, because it makes the painting it makes the sculpture more alive and more interesting. And then you can always use the smooth tool to smooth it out. We'll do it later if we want to smooth out some parts to make it a little bit more polished. But the idea is that you get in the flow and then you create an emotion with your sculpture. You want people who are going to watch your movie, play your game, use your animation, you look at your renders to feel something kind of original, creative, kind of not like soulless work that is perfect. You know, you want to have some sort of personality in your work and character. And this is very important. And Chisel is designed with that idea in mind there. it doesn't try to make everything's perfect. It tries to give you the tools to kind of make organic shape, texture shape, and so forth. So for instance, we see like there's a little bit of texture on the surface. This is due to the triangles, and then the tool is not, I'm moving my hand, so it's like creating a little bit of kind of randomness in the movement, but it's okay. It's part of the process. And then like I say, we can smooth it out later if we want to. Um, so I'm pulling out the vertices, making this pumpkin shape here. I think it's looking good so far. You go around the shape like that, pulling out the vertices, making the brush acts inside the blue sphere. In case you've not noticed yet, like the green sphere, everything inside the green sphere is gonna go and do dynamic topology. So subdivide the triangles and merge them if they're too small to have the right shape, the right size of precision based on your brush size. And then everything inside the blue zone is affected by the brush. So it will be pulled and moved and kind of worked to make the shape that the brush is the contract of the brush is to make the shape, right? So and then with VR, it's very intuitive because you move your hand, right? Like, so it's more akin to real life sculpting than if you do it with a tablet. Tablet is more precision. It's like a little bit more perfect, I would say, but it's also not as easy to get a 3D feeling of what you're doing. With the VR, it's very obvious because you have a depth of perception and you have more connection to the shape, I would say. It's more primal. Yeah, the first time I tried VR, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I want to do sculpting in there. That was my first reaction. First ever time trying VR, I was like, I want to do sculpting. And then I went on the journey to make the Chisel app to do exactly that. Okay, so we have these pumpkins looking decent. It has like these ridges. Is looking very pumpkiny, very Halloween, like Halloween. Um, I like it. We don't have to make it perfect. Like I said, it's just a tutorial, and depending on your use case, you need more or less kind of perfection in your shape. So here we don't need perfection at all. We're gonna smooth out a little bit. So just so you know that if you want some smooth surface, you can have smooth surface. Look, you can use the smooth plus does the smoothing out the normals. So make the shape more uniform and less bumpy. And then this smooth tool smoothed out the location of the position of the vertex, so it's gonna flatten everything and make everything more round. And it's kind of like I call it the blender look, where everything is smoothed out, everything is like perfect, like kind of like that. You don't have to use it too much. I prefer the smooth plus, to be honest. I think it's a little bit more interesting on the shape, but I provide both options. And then there's more smooth tool if you want to flatten the surface or orient normals the same way. You can play with those other smooth brushes. And then we're gonna pick a place where we're gonna put the face. I think maybe here, the eyes here, maybe a little bit big. Maybe here. Yeah, maybe here. The eyes and the mouth. I think that's gonna be good. We're gonna pinch a little bit more here, like that, to make it more marked. Here, here. Oops. Undo, undo. I think I went a little bit overboard here. Here. And then the pinch tool kind of naturally uniformizes everything. And then in case you don't know, like by default, there's a auto smooth enable at a small level here. It does make everything a little bit nicer with the topology. It makes the topology a little bit better. You can deactivate it if you want to be hardcore. Um, okay, I think that's a pretty good shape here. We're gonna assume the viewpoint is here. Maybe pull this one back inside a little bit more. It's too far. So pull it back, pull it back, pull it back. Just put the center inside the shape and it will pull it back. Okay, so that's looking good. We're gonna save. So we're gonna press the X button on the left hand. gonna call it pumpkin lantern. Pumpkin lantern. And once you've put the name, um, as soon as you press X, you will make a new save, and every new save is a new file. I do this so that you never lose your work, and then the files generally are pretty small, like 1 MB or whatever. If you make a big model, it could be like 20 megabytes or 50 megabytes. A million triangles, maybe 100 megabytes with colors and UV and everything, but it's very rare. Most of the time, it's 1 or 2 megabytes. Anyway, so we have the shape. So now we're gonna carve out the nose and the mouth. To do that, we're gonna use the carve brush. So you go to brushes, carve, and then this brush has a customizable shape inside. Like you can see, it has a square right now. So we're gonna go to Alt and select the pyramid shape here. And then with this pyramid shape, we can carve the eyes. So you can use the left joystick, left and right, to make it bigger or smaller. And you can make it more intense by using the up and down. So I'm gonna make it a little bit more intense because the carve tool is pretty slow. You can adjust it to make it faster, and there's no interest in making it slow. So we're gonna make one eye here, one eye here, the nose here, and then the mouth will be here. So let's do that. One eye here. So we start with the right eye. So you push the blue shape inside. So it has to intersect, and it's gonna carve the inside of the shape like that. And then you make the eye. You can make it a little bit more. Okay. We're gonna do the other side here, and then again make sure the surface vertices are off because it might interfere. So see, I pressed the Y button to turn it off and on, so it has to be on false for off. False means off. And then we're gonna make the nose here a little bit smaller. Push it out like this. Push it inside. Cute nose. Okay. And then we're gonna make the mouse. So for the mouse, we're gonna change the shape. We're gonna go to Alt. We're gonna choose oval icosphere, or we could actually pick icosphere here, and then it's gonna make a sphere shape to make the hole. So we're gonna do like that, and then carve out the mouth. And then I'll show you oval icosphere is a little bit nicer for this because it has like a kind of a fade. So we can fade out the inside of the mouse like that with the oval icosphere. And then you can take your time to carve it. Can reorient. You're gonna make it a little bit stronger. Carving the mouse slowly but steadily. The carve tool is a bit slow by design to make it smooth and nice on the normals. Otherwise, if you carve too fast, the normals of the mesh can be a little bit rough and jagged. So I don't enjoy that. So I remove that. I make it smaller, slower, so it has time to smooth out as you carve. Okay, we're gonna make it a little bit bigger at the bottom here, a little bit more open. Okay, looking good. Then now we're gonna make the corner of the mouth with the pyramid shape. So pyramid, and then we're gonna make it pointy. So use the right joystick to make the triangle bigger, and then do this here, that, a little bit pointy on the corner. Okay. Okay, that's looking good. I think we're gonna save. Now I'm gonna pull out the teeth. So I go to brushes, flat brush. Make sure the shape is cube. Cube is the default flat shape. We're gonna make the cube a little bit bigger here. And then the flat brush just pulls the vertices in the direction of the brush. So I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna use surface vertices turn with the Y button turn on so that only the vertices in the direction of the brush get affected. Otherwise, the vertices on the other side might also be pushed because if I do like this, they will be within the zone, like the bottom one and the top one would move. But if with surface, it's only the one with the majority surface, the big surface at the top. So I do like that. So we're gonna pull the right tooth. I'm gonna pull down the left tooth. And don't worry, we're gonna smooth it out a little bit later to make it look nicer. And then we're gonna pull out the bottom tooth. So if you see your brush as orientation, see this is the top, the little dot here. So you want to orient the dot in the direction that you're pulling. Okay, this is looking cool. Okay, we can make it a little bit larger, I feel like. So we're gonna make it bigger here. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna smooth out the shape. So here it's like more uniform. Smooth it out here, smooth it out here, smooth it out, smooth it out, smooth everything out. Okay. I kind of want to make this one pop out a little bit more. So I'm gonna use the move tool here a little bit and then move this out like that, and then I'm gonna smooth it out to make it more flat. So the move tool works with hand movement. So you grab and pull and move around like that with your hand, and it does the moving the parts. Okay, so I think this is looking decent. Like you could spend more time redoing this tooth if you wanted to be exactly symmetrical and whatnot, but there's also a symmetry option. I'll do it in another video. But anyway, we have the tooth, we have the face. It's pretty good. We're gonna quick save. And now we're gonna make the light inside the, oh, we're gonna make the stem. So I'm gonna go into layers, rename this layer. This is the body, or yeah, body. Okay, and then we're gonna make an empty layer, and we're gonna call it stem. And then we're gonna make the stem. So I'm gonna show you how to make a shape. So you have an empty layer, so nothing happening. You go to brushes, add, and here we're gonna pick a shape for the base shape for the stem. So we're gonna pick maybe like an oval icosphere, and then we're gonna use the props menu to make it elongated shape for the stem. So you can play with those here to make it more or less elongated. So we're gonna make it elongated like that, and then you can also do the shortcut with this button, the left index trigger, and the right joystick to make it more longer or shorter or narrower, and so forth. So we want to make it a little bit like that, a bit like that. Okay, and now we're gonna press the right index trigger to materialize it, and then we can use the smooth style tool to smooth out the geometry a little bit here, like that. And then you can see it's not the center of mass, it's not at the center of the object. So if you wait 10 seconds without sculpting, without doing anything, it will move the center to the center of mass like that. Like it just moved right now. So, okay. And now we're gonna do the shape. So we're gonna use the round brush at first, and then we're gonna try to play with other brush to make it a cool stem-like shape. And I'll show you the pull brush a little bit. So here the surface vertices are on, so only the face that is facing the brush moves. If I turn it off, both sides move. You see the difference? So turn it on and then do like that. You're gonna make the shape of the stem. Okay, give it like a nice viney feeling. And another thing you can do is use the flat brush, go to Alt, rounded cube, and this is a shape, sometimes it's called clay, something I observed and then kind of customize a little bit to make it like look like a vine. It's pretty good for making viney texture because it has like a little bit of a edge, but it's a rounded edge. So we're gonna switch over to a shaded material so you can see better. So vertex paint, match this, make it dark green. And so as you can see, like this rounded cube here does this kind of shape here on the side. And this is great for making those organic viney shapes. And so we're gonna do this everywhere here, and then it's gonna make the texture of the stem to make it more stemmy. I don't know if this is a real word, stemmy, but you get the idea. Okay, we do this, we create on the side here, kind of kill and give it a cool shape. Doing some sculpting out too much. That was a little bit too strong. Turn off the surface vertices, push the whole thing in like that. And then this is looking like a decent sim. I want to show you another thing, the pull brush. So you're gonna go to pull, and then you're gonna intersect the blue circle with the shape, and then you're gonna sculpt and pull, and then you can do like that. So you can make it more kind of whimsical and then spin around. I could do another one here. That. So that's making like a cool shape. I'm not gonna do the other side. I don't like it, but like that. And then we're gonna smooth a little bit the texture here. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Smooth out a little bit here. Smooth out a little bit here. We're gonna make this one a bit flat. So you can use smooth flatten to align those planes a little bit here, like that. But yeah, you have a lot of tools to play with to have fun. Okay, I'm gonna push that out a little bit inside. And yeah, it's this thing with sculpting is like you have a lot of options to make it interesting. It's always fun to come up with organic shape. I love nature, and I love the shapes you find in nature. Always observing plants and animals and kind of trying to give that extra personality to my sculptures based on observation of real world. It's I think it's a great thing for an artist to have a good eye for nature. Also architecture and other human-made stuff, but nature is really the goat. Okay, I think this is looking like a cool stem. So we're gonna place it at the top of the pumpkin, and then we're gonna parent the layer. So we're gonna grab the stem layer and then drag it over the body and then leave it there. And now when we move the body, everything moves together, right? So the stem looks like not exactly in the center. We're gonna put a little bit more in the center here. Look at the body. Okay, looking good. Uh, so this is the highlight when you highlight over the layers. Um, and now we're gonna make the light inside the pumpkin, the core, the soul of the pumpkin. So we add a new layer. It will make a sphere by default. We're gonna put it inside. The trick is to put it inside like that. And then we're gonna change the material to vertex paint here. We're gonna make it uh, metallic, whatever, and then color it in bright yellow here, and maybe a little bit more wider yellow. I don't have a shader yet for light effects, but this is make do. And then we're gonna parent this layer. We're gonna rename it as light. Save it. And then we're gonna parent it to the body. I mean, make it a child of the body. And now we have the pumpkin here. So let's see, the pumpkin, the stem, the light, everything. We gonna make the body material a bit more shiny. I feel like that would be kind of cool. Like yeah, and a bit more orange. Like here maybe. No, that's less orange. Uh, more orange. Yeah, more orange, even more. Always more. Yeah, here we go. So here we go. We have a pumpkin. So as you see, it's like pretty quick to make something carved like this with the carve tool, and it's pretty fun. And then it's, you could see that in the game. Like imagine you have a pumpkin character or something, and it took us what 20 minutes. So it's pretty quick and pretty easy. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I know I'm going to go over a little bit detail I mentioned at the beginning about the save files. So we're going to save with a quick save here, quick save. And now if you go to load save, you can load sculpture. You will have the pumpkin land, the latest file you have, so this one, right? But if you remove the checkpoint, check mark here, hide the checkpoints, you can see all the checkpoints of the pumpkin lantern. So you have the autosave kicking every 5 minutes here, and then you have the previous version. So you have this one, you have this one. Every time we do the quick save, it's going to be saved here. This one here, and so forth. And then if you hide the checkpoints, you only see the most recent one. And if you want to make space on your headset, you go to Manage Files, and you can either delete all the checkpoints. So if I select this one here, it will say delete 5 files, or you uncheck this, you remove the checkpoints, and you can select which files you want to delete. So you can select multiple files like this, and you can delete them like that. I'm not going to delete anything, but and then finally you can also use clouds here, the cloud menu, to synchronize your Dropbox and your Google Drive. So it will upload the files to Dropbox and Google Drive, and you select auto sync to do it automatically, so you never have to worry about anything. Yeah, that's it for the save management. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Bye bye.